It is now my pleasure and honor to introduce our commencement speaker, New Jersey Senate President Stephen Sweeney. Senator Sweeney grew up in South Jersey. He knows South Jersey. He fights for South Jersey. An iron worker by trade, he has served in the state Senate for 12 years, including serving as Senate President since 2009. He also served as the Gloucester County Board of Chosen Freeholders for 13 years. From property tax relief to job creation to the rights of people with disabilities, Senator Sweeney has led legislation that is focused on improving the lives of New Jersey residents. Though he won't tell you this, it was his vision and leadership that put Rowan on the trajectory to become a research institution and to impact medical and higher education in the state through 2 new medical schools. He's keenly focused on the role access to higher education and medical education can have on economic development in New Jersey. To say the least, Senator Sweeney, a Democrat, does not always agree with Republican New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, but his masterful collaboration with the governor and state legislatures on both sides of the aisle has paid big dividends for the state and especially for South Jersey. 2 decades from now, when you look back on the value of your own university degree, you will be able to trace the university's success to 3 entities. The university's faculty, of course, these individuals, the most precious asset that we have in here, the people who hold the knowledge and the curriculum. Henry Rowan, with his wonderful gift. And Senator Sweeney for his transformational vision. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming State Senate President Stephen Sweeney, your 2013 commencement speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Hushman, for that introduction, and to President Hushman, Board of Trustees, my colleagues in the legislature, the freeholders, Mayor Red, Mayor McCabe, members of Glassboro Town Council, and the faculty members and distinguished guests. It's truly an honor to be here with you today at your commencement, and I want to thank you for the privilege of allowing me to say a few words. And the graduating students, your prayer parents and family and friends, my sincere congratulations to all of you. I'm sure somewhere along the line, your parents or a teacher or a family friend warned you how fast these years would go, and to make sure you make the best of it. And I'm sure most of you didn't believe them. What do they know? As Mark Twain famously said, when I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant, I could hardly stand to be around the old man. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished how much the old man had learned in 7 years. You're sitting here today in large part because of your intelligence, work ethic, and self-motivation. But you're also sitting here because your parents or guardians or influential family members made an impact in your life and put you in a position to achieve success. Not just financially. I just had a son graduate from college, but I'm sure that helped. So while this day is about a celebration of your accomplishments, don't forget to thank those who helped you get there. Your achievements today can be viewed as a beginning and an end. It's the end of rushing out of class, or for some, I'm sure, skipping class. The end, absolutely. At least we have somebody honest here. The end of cramming for that midterm or final. The end for many of you, your academic careers. While this marks an end, it's the start of an exciting new period in your lives. Some of you will go on to further your education. Some will jump into the workforce. Before you know it, you'll be working full-time, looking for a house, getting married, starting families of your own, and it'll be your kids uttering those Mark Twain's words. Trust me, it'll happen. This is an event much more than about a diploma that you're proudly going to display on a wall. It symbolizes the beginning of a new and exciting chapter for each of you. And I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't envy you. I never got a chance to sit where you're sitting. After graduating from Pennsauken High School, I went out and became an iron worker. Pennsauken in the house. Instead of sitting in the classroom furthering my education, I was standing on top of buildings and bridges and unfortunately falling off a couple of them. When Steve Jobs delivered the commencement address at Stanford University in 2005, he said something I want each of you to consider. I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Don't settle. And in the end, I think I made out okay. And while I didn't have the benefits and advice of Steve Jobs, and I can't figure out half the things he's invented, I certainly share his mentality for refusing to settle. I've raised a family, I have 2 children that I adore, and I do something I love for a living. I think if you can accomplish those things in life, you've accomplished a lot. But where I am now does not change the fact I deeply regret not getting a college education. Working hard, being determined are critical assets, but nothing ever beats having a quality education. Your degree and all the efforts you put into getting it can never be taken away from you, and it will allow you to have greater opportunities. I've always said education is the great equalizer. That's why one of the proudest moments of my life was sitting in a crowd just like today watching my son graduate from college last May. And even prouder still that he's back in school working on his master's degree. You can champion all the bills and all the legislation you want. You can give all the speeches you want, but nothing beats seeing your child succeed and going further than you did. So I envy you as graduates, and as proud parents myself, I share the joy your families are all experiencing. The old saying goes that today is the first day of the rest of your life. Words that rarely ring truer than a day like today. So as you head out into the real world, I want to share a little advice with you. But to do so first, I want to recognize Dr. Hushman, my friend, one of the loudest, proudest, and greatest advocates we've ever had for Rowan University and higher education in this state. Dr. Hushman and I worked together on many issues, perhaps never as closely as we did last year on the Medicine and Health Education Restructuring Act. For those of you who don't understand Trenton speak, it's just a fancy way of saying the law that's restructuring Rowan University today. I mention this restructuring not as an elected official tooting my own horn, although I'm proud to be one of the sponsors, but because I think the fight that we had to endure offers a valuable lesson in life. As you transition from student life to the workforce, you're going to face many challenges and obstacles that often seem unwinnable. But when those challenges confront you, the easiest thing to do is to give up. Many have, and many will continue to. Hopefully it won't be you. It takes little effort to say something can't be done, that a challenge can't be met and things can't change. It's why we see gridlock in our nation's capital, and why even fewer people continue to get involved themselves. But nothing happens unless you act. Unless you have the courage and strength of mind and the purpose to create change that you want to see. I've been in the Senate for over a decade. Twice before people proposed restructuring in state universities, and twice before it failed. Newspapers, politicians, government leaders, they all thought it was impossible or not worth the effort. It can't be done, that's what they said. Now's not the time. Perhaps my favorite, we're moving too fast. We need months, maybe years to look at this. This is what people who don't want change to happen do. They try to deter you. And when they don't care enough to push that change, they allow themselves to be stalled, they settle. and they allow themselves to be relegated to the sidelines while the status quo maintains control of the field. That's what we could have done. We could have bowed out saying it was impossible, the system was too strong to overcome, but we, and that includes many of us here today, didn't. Instead, we dug our heels in and challenged the so-called conventional wisdom head on. Why? Because we knew the old ways of doing things weren't working. We knew we had to implement change for the greater good for those comfortable with the business as usual. And because we did this, the face of Rowan University and New Jersey education in general is going to be altered like nothing we've ever seen. Now, all of this is obviously important. It will give you great opportunities because the Rowan name will continue to grow in stature because of what you do to make it grow and because of what Dr. Hushman and the great faculty here do to make it grow. But also because the future of our economy and our educational system is critical to the future success of our economy in our region and our state. The anecdote about what we accomplished wasn't just to reinforce the purpose or to make you feel even better about your Rowan degree. The point is, be bold. Question the status quo. Challenge those who say it can't change, that the old ways are here to stay. Dare to create change for the better, not just change for your own benefit, but for the greater community. Don't settle. I've tried to lead an example in my own life. My daughter Lauren was born with Down syndrome. She was born 2 pounds. I could hold her in one hand. She spent 2.5 months in an intensive care unit. To be there day in and out and see your child go through something I hope none of you will ever have to experience. All you want to do is pick them up and say everything's okay. But you can't. Instead, you have to watch doctors and nurses shuffle in and out. And at that time, honestly, I really didn't know what was going on. I was your typical hard-working iron worker. When the doctors told me she had Down syndrome, I didn't know what that meant. When the doctors explained it to me, I was angry. How dare they talk about my daughter that way? They don't know what they're saying. But often in life, this was a blessing. She told me it was time to get my act together. I was about 33 when I actually grew up. She opened my eyes to a world that I had not known before. I saw in the way with those people would look at people with disabilities, and I didn't like the way they were looking at them and treating them. It would have been easy for me to sit down and do nothing, or just to do something to make my daughter's life better. But instead, it motivated me to run for public office because I wanted to enact change that would benefit the entire community. Change that would let the world know that individuals with disabilities deserve the same love, understanding, and happiness that we would want for anyone we care about. I said before, it's about being bold. Not just about being bold, it's also about changing your community, your state, your country, and the world in a positive way. As President Clinton once said, "We're all in this together is better than you're on your own." And if you follow that advice, you can and will succeed. In many ways, it took my daughter Lauren to explain to me what life was really about and why it's so important to follow your passion and make a difference. All your goals, all your dreams lie ahead. Don't squander that opportunity. Leave here today knowing that if you are committed and dedicated to following your heart and making things happen, to shaping the world as you want it to be, nothing can stop you. Don't settle. Thank you for allowing me to be here today and be your commencement address speaker, and congratulations to the class of 2013.